month and come together, read scripts. And we did a festival last year. We're doing another festival. It was actually supposed to be in May, but it got pushed back because of all the shutdowns. But lots of playwriting things going on, and it's happy to be here tonight.
Well, we're very, very happy to have you as well. So, David, this is the hot seat for you for a little bit. So we're going to ask you some questions. And if anybody has a question as well for David, feel free to put it into the chat. We'll visit with him for a little bit, and then that'll allow us to get our audience in place and make sure that everybody is comfortable with a nice beverage in your hand and hopefully a soft couch to enjoy tonight's reading. So David, do you mind, can you tell us a little bit about your inspiration or motivation for this particular piece, Railbird?
Okay, so originally it started as a screenplay, and I was in college and I thought I would kind of like to write movies and thought I could get together some group of people and we could film our own. And I was actually really into poker at that time, and this was in 2007 or so. And so from August to December, I wrote a short screenplay. It was about 50 pages. It was called Fire Lake, which was based on a Bob Seger song. And it also deals with poker and things. And each act was actually named from a lyric in the song. And but anyway, so I wrote it, and I really couldn't get together enough people interested to play the parts, and then it just kind of fell apart. But it was the first long thing I had ever written. It was about 56 pages, and then so 10 years later, I'm in DFW now and wanting to write a play, and I thought, well, that would be a good inspiration, a good place to start. Is to rewrite that, because it was always set in one room around a poker table, and the cast is all on stage consistently till they leave. And so I thought I could work on that, so I changed tons of it, but I kept the characters' names are the same. The poker game still happens. There's some fortune telling supernatural elements, and so it was a 10-year process pretty much, but that's how it started.
Very nice, very nice. Who are some of your writing mentors or influences?
I love Sam Shepard stuff, Tennessee Williams. Let's see. I don't know, anything dramatic. I'm not that much into comedies or musicals. But yeah, they're my favorite. I saw The Doll's House at Water Tower a couple of years ago. It was fantastic. And saw Equus last year at the Colony. It was fantastic as well.
Do you have a favorite Shepard script?
If we go back to movies, one of my favorite movies is Paris, Texas, which was co-written by him. And I always love Harry Dean Stanton as an actor too. And it's just been one of my favorites for years. I saw, let's see, what was it? Fool for Love. We saw that, I guess, last year at the Classics Theater Project in Margot Jones, and it was really excellent. So that's my favorite one to have seen. There's some others that I really want to see that I haven't yet.
Random question: does writing energize or exhaust you?
Both. I love it when I'm on a roll and the characters are doing great, and but sometimes they tell me how the story should go, and you just follow their lead and come up with things I never expected. And I'm usually an outliner, so I go with a plot before I even start writing most of the time. But every time I do write, new things happen that I never expected. But then sometimes you do plan these things and you hit a brick wall and things just aren't working, so that just drains you. And sometimes I just put a script aside and come back to it later, like months later, because I'm just not feeling it anymore. But when it's on a roll, I love it.
How do you go about your writing process? Do you set a time to write? Do you write whenever the muse hits you? Can you tell us a little bit about how you go about creating a piece?
So when I have ideas, I just use the notepad feature on my phone. I write them all in. Sometimes it's just like one line, like just a scenario. And sometimes I just have like a set of dialogue that comes to me. So I write that down in case I ever want to use it later. But yeah, mostly like I have an idea and it just sticks with me for 2 or 3 weeks. And I know, okay, that's a story I need to work on because it's not leaving my mind. And so I start working on an outline and playing around with who these characters are, what they are, and then when I have a pretty good idea of a beginning, most of the time I have an end, and so I just kind of start writing and from there and see how it happens.
I think Jason turned it off because
What was that?
Do you have any other plays in the works right now?
Yes, I just finished one called Purple Eyed Teddy. It's my second full length after this Railbird one. I've sent it to 3 theaters. I'm hoping to hear back good news soon. But yeah, it was fun. I did it to make the Kitchen Dog deadline, so I had like a month. But it's one I had put aside. I had written about 40 pages at the end of 2018, and I just put it aside because I wasn't sure where to take it. And then so about a year later, I finished it up in 1 month, and it was one of those that were rolling and energized. I loved it, and I love how it turned out. And so I'm hoping it works out good. We're doing a Stage Writer Festival probably sometime this summer, whenever we can actually get together as a theater again. And I've got a 10-minute play in it called Evan's Gambit. It's kind of based on a chess game and Alice in the Wonderland.
Very nice. You mentioned that this play started out as a screenplay. Do you have any plans to submit that to any of the film industry world and see if you can get it on its feet as an actual film?
The original one is, because I wrote it 2007, so that's 13 years ago. It was really terrible. The dialogue and all kinds of that, I had to rewrite major portions of it. And I really don't have any interest in filmmaking anymore. Plays is what I love, and I see this one can all be done on a stage. And it's had a couple readings. I'm just looking for a theater to want to produce the whole thing. So I don't have plans to do it. I would have to rewrite it as a screenplay, which I don't feel like I should do. I just need to keep writing more plays.
You mentioned that you wrote this one quite a while ago. From beginning to end, how long did the actual writing process take to get to the point where we are tonight as you submitted this to the original work series? How long did that whole process take for you? Okay,
so it was 2007. I had the original idea. I wrote it from August to December as I was going I used to live in Jonesboro, Arkansas, so it's about an hour from Memphis, Tennessee. I was going to grad school at the University of Memphis, part-time, about 2 days a week. And so while I was driving there, the rest of the days I was writing the script and working on it. So that was 6 months or so. And then I put it aside until 10 years later. So 6 months to write a kind of lousy screenplay. And then it took about another 6 months to turn it into a play. It had a reading in 2018 in Louisville. We all just sat in a group and read it aloud, just any public people that wanted to come in. And they helped a lot with the feedback I got from that. I completely rewrote the end. I tightened up some of the other things, brought the supernatural element out a little bit more. And then I submitted it to Imprint, which it got a reading last year in the Stone Cottage Theater in Addison. And it went really well. And I worked close with the director and the actors, and I barely changed anything from that, and then submitted it here. And that's how I did. So about a year of combined just actual work on it, but 12-year process.
Wow.
But there was like
a lot of time with a group of characters. Yes. Do you still enjoy the characters, or do you feel as though once you complete the process, do you let it go, or does it stay with you when you come back to it? Do you see yourself wanting to rewrite, or do you just let it go and leave it be?
I just leave it be. I don't. These past, we were in rehearsal last night, and just hearing it and having Meagan read Sarah, I just loved the Sarah character, and it brought, because I haven't read this at all since I guess October, and then it just brought back like, oh yeah, this is good, and I'm happy with it, and I just let it go. It's on its own now, unless there's certain things, there might be a line or two that need fixed, but other than that, I'm happy.
Nice. So a little bit more of a serious question. How do you see art itself, not specifically just playwriting or theater, but how do you see art changing in the midst of all of that, the pandemic and all that's going on in the world right now? Do you see a shift in something that will change coming out of all of this?
Um, uh, it could, once we get to be able to get together again, make people appreciate the closeness of theater. I think it's also given people time to write, possibly if they're stuck at home. Now's your chance to write. Um, I don't, and then it's bringing up new ways to do plays, such as what we're doing tonight. But I do, I don't. I could see it being difficult for museums and seeing like actual artwork and things. And I know it's closing down movie theaters, but they're also making their stuff available to stream. Um, Overall, you see that nothing's going to keep art from spreading because there's so many technology ways to bring it about. So I appreciate that. But I think maybe people will love to come together again. Maybe there'll be more theater audiences because they were so tired of being at home. Maybe there'll be a boom, which would be fantastic.
On that same note, what are some of your suggestions to new playwrights or somebody that is trying to get inspired to write a play?
The best thing I did was just go to plays. I went to, I think, 45 plays or readings or festivals last year, and Dallas has so many theaters. And then certainly come to our group, Stage Writers. Just go to stagewriters.com, and we meet once a month once we can actually meet again. And then we meet once a month, read scenes, and help each other write better. And but yeah, go to plays. You can read plays. Go to half price books. Go to the drama section. There's tons of plays you can get for like $3 or $4. I don't know. That's the best advice, I guess.
Sounds like very solid advice to me, so for sure. So can you tell us a little bit, did you do a lot of like research for this particular piece? And I heard you mention before, sounds like you are a fan of poker. Are you currently a practicing poker player?
No, in college, I did quite a bit of it. I haven't played in maybe 10 years. But yeah, at the time I was writing this, me and my friends would get together about once a week and play. And so that's kind of where the idea of all the poker stuff came from. What was the other part? Sorry.
Did you do a lot of research for this particular
Oh.
piece? Did you watch like World Series of Poker or?
Yeah, I used to
that was pretty hot a few years back. So
yeah, I used to just watch that for fun. And then like 2 years ago when I was working on revisions, I started watching it again just to see if there was anything I needed to pick up and input into the story. Also did a lot of research on the Romani culture and their language, and there's a little bit of that Romani words in the script, and I wanted to use it appropriately. And so, but yeah, but the actual characters just came to me. I mean, a little bit, I guess if everyone is always based on people you know a little bit. But yeah, I didn't have to do much poker research because I knew most about it.
what's the most difficult part of your artistic process?
Always the writing part, although it is hard to get produced. You can get readings here and there, but finding someone that just loves it and wants to spend the money to put on the actual show, that's tough. But other than that is the actual writing, and you got to sit with it, especially a full length. You're going to work on it for months, at least for me, and you're going to have to really love the characters, really love the story to put in that commitment. But it's worth it. Once you get it done, it feels so fantastic to have it done. And then when you get your first reading and you get to hear actors become these characters, and then at times you'll have the actors tell you what the characters are thinking, even though you wrote them, and it's like, oh yeah, I never even thought of that. And that, once they're alive, there's nothing like it.
How does writing change the writer?
You've got stories you never knew that were in you. And I've seen a lot of mine. I've been adding a little supernatural elements in, and That's not to, and they're not harped on. It's just something that happens, and um, I don't know. I love writing it. I've been writing since I was really little. I just never thought I should write as a career, but that's changing, and I don't know what I'd do without it.
Well, we're very, very happy that you chose this path. And again, we're very, very excited that you took the time to submit to the Fort Worth Community Arts Center and gave us a chance to breathe some life into these wonderful characters that you've created. So David, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us. And at this point in time, if I could go ahead and have the actors themselves come online for me, please.
Can you start my video, Jason, please?
Yep.
Ditto.
Done deal.
Gracias.
Cool.
All right, I believe this is everybody. So actors, if you guys wouldn't mind just taking a brief moment, 75 words or less, as they say, for your bios. Just tell us a little bit about yourselves and what characters you'll be playing tonight.
I'll go first. Hi, my name is Shawn Gann. I'll be portraying Tripp tonight. Local actor and director throughout DFW. Been doing this around the area since 1999, so for a while. I'm a board member and founding member of Altered Shakespeare Company. I'm also with Shakespeare Everywhere. I'm a company member with Lip Service, and have been working with Jason and these bunch of yokels for a while now. I'm really excited to do another one with them.
I'm Carter Frost. I'm going to be playing Blake. I'm a stage actor from DFW. I also do indie films. I write and I direct, and I'm in anything I can get in, as you can see. I worked with these guys last fall in Terra Nova. Had a great time. Thought I'd come back, and so far I really like what I'm seeing in the script. So I think everybody's going to pretty much enjoy it.
My name's Andrew Manning, and I am a teacher by day and an actor by night with no superpowers, and that sums it up. I worked with all these guys, of course, in Terra Nova, and Jason contacted me and asked me if I was busy anytime soon, and I said no. So this has actually been really fun to be able to do this because, you know, I've been able to teach, but I didn't think about would I be able to do anything theater-wise, acting-wise, and so this has been great and awesome. So,
Wow. Terra Nova, that's where I remember all you guys from. Woof.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, so we know who the diva was in the cast.
I guess I'll go next. My name's Dave Graham. I'm originally from Georgia, but I'm here in DFW by way of California. I just moved here from LA in March of last year. So I've been here about a year now, a little over a year. I'm a writer, actor, director, and I also was in Terra Nova with these yokels. And so I do this out of pity for them. I'm playing Chris. By the way, I'm playing Chris. So.
Oh yeah, I'm playing Phil. I forgot to say that.
Yeah.
Is this thing on? Hello?
There we go.
Yeah, hi. My name is Malcolm Stephenson, and I'll be playing Joe this evening. And these guys had the misfortune of being with me in Terra Nova, and which was amazing. And I also worked with Lip Service and Marat Saad last year. Originally from New York. I live in Austin now, and I'm looking forward to this evening. This is going to be great.
Hey guys, I'm Meagan Harris. I'll be playing Sarah. I am a local actor here in town. I do film and television and theater. I also work at Shakespeare Dallas as the Programs and Marketing Associate and Associate Producer. I'm really excited to be doing a little cast reunion here from Terra Nova. It's really great to see all these guys again. And I'm really grateful that Jason asked me to be involved. This is my second play reading with the Fort Worth Cultural Arts Center, so I'm excited to be back, and I'm looking forward to reading the script. It's a lot of fun.
Hi everyone, I'm Joshua. I'll be reading the stage directions tonight. I'm a local actor and designer in DFW and the Schrodinger's Cat of audience members. I also worked on Terra Nova. I'm a company member of Lip Service and a founding member of Resolute Theater Project. And I just enjoy being involved in the arts no matter what its capacity, because it's brought me a lot of joy, and like anything that we can do to bring a little bit of joy to y'all's lives, I think is worth it. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Hopefully you'll have a good time.
It'll all be just great. It looks like we might have lost David Graham for just a moment, so we're going to give him a chance to kick back in.
I'm here.
I have a question for, oh, there he is right there. I have a question for all the actors real quick. What do you guys think one of the biggest differences is between not just a staged reading, but a Zoom reading, so to speak, as opposed to working together on the stage? Are there benefits? There's obviously no audience in the room with you to feed off of, but I'm curious as actors, if you guys have any insight as to what you think about the process and some of the challenge that it brings to create characters.
I'd be happy to start with that. For me, I think in the context of reading a script out loud that maybe hasn't been workshopped or is in the process of being workshopped, I think what the Zoom thing actually does help with is an emphasis on the text, because that's all we have to work with. I mean, we're all sitting stagnant and we're all having to, kind of make eye contact, but also kind of just read. And so it's the nice thing is hearing the text come alive without really any extra trappings, which in some ways, depending on the play, of course, but in some ways I think really elevates the text, and you kind of hear the words that the playwright, intended in a little bit of a clearer way, because you're not getting in the way of anything else. It's mostly text. So to me, that's there is some benefit to that, strangely, even though this is such a weird thing, but yeah.
For me, I think doing it online, I've done readings before, and usually they're on a stage in front of an audience, and there's always that kind of added, I don't know, kind of adrenaline rush you always get when you're in front of a live audience, because if you screw up, you can accidentally make eye contact with somebody that's laughing at you about it. But I think for me, whether it's like this or on a stage or doing a show, I think I enjoy it about the same, because I'm getting to work with some really cool people. Some of them I like. Sorry, Jeff. But I think no, I really enjoy doing it like this. It's just weird, kind of, being in this room and I'm alone, but I'm also doing stuff with other people. It's just a weird feeling, but I'm getting used to it. So.
Yeah, I would say it was kind of weird because even though the way I've set up my thing, which is probably different than the other actors, is I have two screens, which is everybody, and then I have the script in front of me, so I can read it easier. And so it is kind of weird because whenever I'm reading, I'm not looking at anybody's face, and so you lose a little bit of that person to person. And then I know we talked about, because we're using a camera, so should I be acting to the camera? Or is this more of a radio kind of play? So is it more vocals? And knowing that you're still on camera, even though it's not a film, it's just weird. So it's kind of like playing into all these different acting styles is kind of interesting when it's, I don't know. I'm just having fun doing it, and I've never done anything like this before. So I'm looking forward to see how this turns out. and I apologize if I'm terrible. So that's how I approach this. This is just fun.
Any final thoughts, Gann or Josh or Malcolm?
Sure. What's really interesting about doing this is it's, sometimes you can have all actors on stage and you can see everybody and connect with everybody. But what's odd, of course, is doing this, I can see my face the whole time. And it is amazing how much it moves and all the things that it does. And of course, one, it's stunning, but two, looking at Joe and Mr. Malcolm over here, it's like, it's hard to keep my focus either on myself or him the whole time. It's crazy, but I can look at him and and I'm not staring at him. He doesn't know I'm staring at him the whole time.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting experience. I mean, there's no substitute for that immediacy of the theater, right? The incredible experience that Terra Nova was recently, but it's still really interesting to manage to try to manage your own facial expressions without over managing them, and also try to prevent the dogs from barking too loud, kind of stuff.
Yeah. I find it fascinating because much like doing a play versus a stage reading, like having the script in front of you versus not, and standing side by side or interacting face to face with actors, there's a different kind of energy in those two forums, I feel. And this aspect of it, doing it via Zoom, has brought on an even more different kind of energy, which I imagine is also different when you do film, or if you were to do like a radio play or any form of theatrical acting. Like, there's just subtle differences in the energy, but the energy is still there. And it's just been getting, since this is my first time doing something like this, it's getting used to that new energy and finding out, so what do I do slightly different to compensate for this over here, but don't change too much so that something else suffers as a result. So it's been a very fascinating learning experience.
Yeah, it's a different kind of adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have directors yelling at me about putting on pants or anything either. I'm just sitting here having a good time.
And that happens a lot.
Now.
All right, folks. So it looks like Meagan had a blackout in her house. So I don't want to give anything away here. We'll see how things go, and I'll keep in touch with her. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and call for places, just like the old school. So all actors, top of the show, top of the show. Again, I want to remind everybody that is with us, feel free to join us in the chat feature over to the side. And whenever we're done with the reading, we'll bring David back on along with some of the other actors. And if anybody has any questions or concerns for that as well, then we can go ahead and visit with them a little bit too. So I'm going to go ahead and Blake, are you able to get yourself off of there? And David Graham, are you able to mute out? Beautiful. Well done. All right, folks. With that being said, please sit back, relax, and enjoy Railbird.
Railbird, a play in 2 acts by David Douglas. Act 1, Scene 1. Setting: evening. A dining room, living room inside an uninviting, sparsely furnished house. Center stage features a dining table. 5 chairs surround it, 2 on the upstage side and 1 centered on each remaining side. As an allusion to Tripp's lifestyle, no chair should match one another. On the table is a felt surface, an unopened deck of playing cards, a stack of 250 poker chips, and a briefcase. Upstage left is a door which leads outside. Stage left is a meager living room with a worn-out couch and an end table with a lit lamp atop. Stage right is a freestanding bar counter. On top of the bar is a cordless landline phone, and inside are dish towels, glasses, water bottles, and a bottle of whiskey. Tripp enters from downstage. He's cheerful as he pulls out the right chair at the head of the table, but he doesn't have time to sit. A knock.
It's open.
Chris enters.
Hey, Tripp,
Chris, what's up, man?
I got a thing.
Chris thumbs toward the door.
Huh?
Phil enters.
Eating lunch today, I noticed the guy at the next table wearing a poker shirt.
He gestures towards Phil, who is wearing a poker-related shirt.
I chatted him up, and long story short, here we are, ready to play.
Oh, okay.
Name's Phil.
Phil and Tripp shake hands.
Hi, Phil. I'm Tripp.
Good to meet you, Tripp.
So, you hung out with Chris this afternoon. He tried to sell you some women's shoes?
No.
To Phil.
Don't mind him. He's always accusing me of selling, wearing, and doing unmentionable things with women's shoes.
To Tripp.
You know, I'm the manager now. I supervise the selling of shoes. I no longer have to sell them myself.
The key words there are have to. If Liv Boree strutted into your store, you'd fall over yourself trying to sell shoes to her.
Like she'd ever visit our store.
Oh, you'd do the same for any hot girl. Tell me, how many ankles did you fondle today?
Chris looks down and shakes his head.
Come on, how many? Better yet, how many skirts did you look up while you were kneeling on the floor?
Why do I even...
What? Why do you even play poker with me? Because you think you can beat me. But that's not going to happen.
We'll see about that.
To Phil.
Don't tell him anything about yourself. It only gives him ammunition to use against you later.
Yeah, I noticed.
Oh, come on, Chris. I only harass you because it rattles you so much, thus giving me the advantage in our poker games.
Good strategy.
Hey!
Thanks.
Tripp returns to the table.
Have a seat, wherever you'd like.
They all sit. Tripp in the pulled-out right-hand chair, Chris in the upper right chair, and Phil in the upper left chair.
Blake called earlier and said he's bringing a guest, too.
Phil fiddles with a column of poker chips.
A motorcycle mama?
He wishes. But no, I don't know who it is.
Phil knocks over the column of chips.
Sorry.
He scrambles to restack them.
I'm sorry.
All right, man.
Phil returns the stacked chips to the center of the table.
So your name's Phil, huh? Like all of the other great poker players? Gordon, Helmuth, Ivy, Lach?
No. No. The only thing I have in common with those guys is a name and an enjoyment of the game.
You play often?
Not really. Mainly just on my phone when I'm bored and need to pass the time.
Really?
To Chris.
You told him the stakes, right?
Chris nods.
Yeah, $5,000 buy-in?
He pulls an envelope or a wad of money from his pocket and drops it on the table.
Tripp, do you have any of those goldfish crackers?
No, but I think I have some fish sticks.
Nah, that's okay.
How about you guys? Do you play often? Is $5,000 the usual buy-in?
We used to. Play often, that is. But it's become less frequent. And yeah, we played for high stakes before, but...
Looks at Tripp.
It's been about a year since we played for anything over $100.
Who won the last high-stakes game?
Tripp, you won, didn't you? Or was it Sarah?
Shut up.
Who's rattled now?
Who's Sarah?
Where's Blake? He should be here by now.
Sarah? She,
A knock.
Come in.
Blake enters, wearing a motorcycle jacket.
Dude, where have you...
Joe enters, dressed handsomely in a suit.
You have got to be kidding me.
Hi, Tripp. Nice to see you too.
Save your highs, Blake. Why'd you bring that sorry sack of...
Watch it, Trey.
Don't tell me to watch it, Joe. This is my house.
Since when do you have a house?
Joe surveys the room.
Although, I think calling this a house is a bit of a stretch, unless you add the word out. Actually, I've seen nicer outhouses than this dump.
Tripp charges towards Joe, but Chris dashes around the table and restrains him.
Joe, you should leave now.
Guys, what's going on?
Tripp stops struggling, and Chris lets him go.
Tripp.
Tripp takes him toward the bar.
Tripp, what's the matter, man? Do you know this clown?
That's Joe, you idiot. You know, Sarah's husband.
Oh, the sore loser. Tripp, how many teeth did that thug knock out of you?
2,
How many broken ribs?
3.
How about we make a 5 of each?
He tightens his fist and approaches Joe.
Whoa, hold on. I'll leave, okay? Just let me leave.
Blake grabs the chest of Joe's clothing and forces him against the door.
Tripp, I had no idea this was your house or your game. If I had, I never would have come. Please, just let me leave.
Blake, let him go.
But
Let him go.
Blake releases Joe.
You know, Joe, that's the first time you've ever called me Tripp.
And you know why.
Joe opens the door to leave.
Joe, wait a second.
He waits.
You really didn't know you were coming to my house?
No. Sarah's friend Renee said she heard about a poker game with a $5,000 buy-in. She put me in touch with Blake and he invited me.
And I had no idea either, man. Renee told me she knew some wealthy clown who wanted to join our game. I thought we'd hustle him out of his money and everyone would thank me for the extra $5,000 in the pot.
Who's Renee?
The motorcycle mama.
You know her?
Yeah, she's Blake's girl.
Blake nods.
And she's friends with Sarah?
Chris shrugs and looks at Blake, who also shrugs.
First I'm hearing about it.
They went to high school together. Not that it's any of your business.
Well, I don't know any of you, but I came to play poker. Are we playing or not?
Oh, Blake, this is Phil. I met him at lunch today and invited him to play. Of course, I was expecting a nice, friendly game, skill incoming.
Blake shakes hands with Phil.
How's it going?
Could be better.
No, everything's fine. You guys, you all enjoy your game.
Joe steps out the door.
Joe, wait.
What, Trey?
You got the $5,000?
Of course. Wait, why? You gonna steal it?
Is that a dig at my Romani heritage?
No, I wasn't even thinking about your Romani heritage.
There's an extra seat at the table if you want it.
Tripp sits.
What?
You heard me.
Tripp, are you sure that's a good idea?
His money is green, same as yours. Besides, he's never beaten me. Today will be no different.
Chris sighs, then takes his seat at the table. Phil sits behind him. Blake takes the downstage chair with his back to the audience. Joe remains in the doorway, contemplating.
What's it gonna be, Joe? You in or out?
Joe closes the door and takes the final chair at the head of the table, directly opposite of Tripp.
Good. I'll assume everyone has their buy-in of $5,000. Mine's already inside the case, and since I don't think anyone has a problem with Chris, I say pass your money to him.
Blake, Phil, and Joe toss their envelopes or rubber-banded wads of money toward Chris. He thumbs through the cash as Tripp continues with the rules.
Okay, the game is no limit Texas Hold'em. Each chip is worth $100.
That's more than our usual buy-in.
Which means everyone will play their best. This should be a great game.
I hope so.
Everyone starts with 50 chips. If you lose them, your game's over. But whoever ends the night with all the chips wins it all. $25,000.
Sweet.
Blake begins distributing the chips to each player.
To start, blinds are 100, 200, and we'll raise them every half hour.
Surveys the table.
I guess that's it. You guys know how to play.
Chris shuts the briefcase,
We're good.
and he holds up an envelope or wad of money.
Anyone want to count mine?
I trust you. Throw it in.
Chris drops in his money and latches the case. Tripp picks up the case and passes the unopened deck of cards to Chris.
Here, you can open these.
No way.
What's the problem?
I'm not playing with your marked cards.
They're unopened.
Maybe they've been resealed.
Joe draws an unopened deck of cards from his pocket and passes them to Chris.
We'll play with mine.
Fine.
Tripp, are you sure?
Yeah. When I beat him with his own cards, he'll have no excuse.
Tripp moves his own deck of cards and the briefcase to the bar.
Money's here, in plain view. Best of luck, everyone.
Yes. Good luck, everyone.
Chris is struggling to remove the plastic wrapping from the deck.
Thanks, Chris. You need some help?
You got a knife or something? I can't open them.
Yeah.
Tripp returns to his seat. Blake hands a pocket knife to Chris.
Thanks.
He flicks open the knife, cuts the plastic wrap, and holds out the knife for Blake.
No, the box. That's bad luck.
What is?
You have to return a knife the same way it was given. Blake handed it to you closed. You have to return it closed.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris, you trying to make me lose?
Like you knew anything about it.
Chris labors to close the blade on the knife.
It won't close. Is there a trick to it?
Weakling.
He takes the knife from Chris.
Can't open cards, can't close a knife.
Tripp strains to close the knife.
Press that little...
I am.
He slams the knife onto the table.
It won't close.
Chris futilely tries again.
It doesn't budge, Blake.
Then you're keeping it. I don't want your bad luck.
Don't fall for a senseless gypsy superstition.
Great. It's all yours.
He offers the knife to Joe, who then refuses it.
That's what I thought.
Chris sets the open knife on the table between himself and Tripp.
Ooh, speaking of gypsies,
Tripp.
brought you a gift.
Me? What is it? And you better not say a knife that won't close.
No. No, I'm serious.
He gives Tripp an old-looking deck of cards.
Soothsayer cards.
Tarot cards?
No, it's what they're literally called.
He shows Joe the label.
Soothsayer cards.
Yeah, I know name's a little bland, but the pictures and fortunes on the cards are interesting.
You opened them?
They weren't sealed.
Tripp slides the cards out of their box.
Renee found them at a thrift store, and we fanned through them before buying. I know they're not the same, but they look antique, look like the cards you had before.
They feel strange.
You don't like them?
No, it's not that.
Look, I'm sorry I destroyed your other deck. I will keep searching for an exact replacement, but I thought in the meantime...
Hold up. You destroyed his gypsy cards? What happened, Blake? You got a bad fortune?
Yeah. Said I was going to die, so I ripped him to shreds.
Seriously?
No. Actually, I spilled a drink on them, but they were special to Tripp.
When your grandmother wills you something, it's usually pretty special.
I still have them. I just can't use them anymore. They're all discolored and wavy.
I'm sorry, man. I really am.
It's all right. Here, let's try these. You get the first card.
He deals a card face down to Blake.
It's a cup. Whether the cup be half full or half empty interests you not, only the strength of the spirit inside. Wherefore, ye of unquenchable thirst shall receive no more than ye seek. I think it's telling me I need a drink. You have any?
He heads to the bar.
Sure, but I think it's telling you not to drink, to instead seek things of higher importance.
Sounds like my girlfriend. Blake, you drink too much. Blake, you should wear a helmet. Blake.
He locates a glass and a bottle of whiskey.
Besides, you weren't listening. What I seek is locked inside this briefcase. Therefore, wherefore, whatever. I shall have what I seek. The card said so.
He pours himself a double shot.
And now you have it.
Huh?
Nothing. I guess I'm next.
He lifts the top card and reads.
It's lightning. Only a fool tarries on a hill as thunderclouds draw nigh. Yet a true fool is surprised when lightning strikes him asunder. A true fool thou shalt be.
Wow, I don't remember reading that one.
You heard it, Trey. You're a fool if you think I'm not going to win this game.
Why do you call him Trey when everyone else says Tripp?
Because Tripp is a moronic nickname, and saying it only boosts his ego.
To Phil.
It's not moronic. Sarah nicknamed him Tripp because, as you'll likely see later, he frequently has trips. You know, a set. 3 of a kind.
Oh, and Sarah is...
My wife.
I'm next.
Tripp, rattled by the fortune, is not listening. Chris draws his own card.
It's a piggy bank.
No way.
Yeah, it says...
Blake drinks and peers over Chris's shoulder. They silently read the card.
What's it say?
That any monetary ventures would be like dropping coins into a broken piggy bank. They fall straight through.
Chris slaps the card on the table, which awakens Tripp from his daze.
I hate these cards.
Sorry, Blake, but I agree with Chris. These cards have no good fortunes. Just touching them, all I feel is negativity.
Sure you're not touching yourself?
Fine, one for everybody.
Tripp deals cards to Phil and Joe.
I don't want it.
Relax, it's a meaningless card. Nobody or thing can predict the future. It's a cave. The path ahead is treacherous, and thou, lantern dim, entereth not the darkness, lest ye tempt death. Where'd you get these cards, Blake? A funeral parlor?
A thrift store, I told you.
It was historical.
It's strange that I don't remember reading any of these fortunes when I bought the cards.
Bill, you're up.
I don't want it.
Just read it.
Phil reluctantly picks up the card.
What's it say?
It's a dog. A loyal, protective companion rewarded by a grateful master, or a disobedient cur punished in kind. Likewise shall be thou fate. I don't want to do this anymore. Can I have my money back?
Not a chance. This game is happening.
Tripp.
I'm with the new guy. Let's get started already. You can conjure spirits later.
No need to conjure what's already attached.
Tripp spreads the cards on the table.
What are you talking about?
Blake returns to his seat with a refilled glass. Tripp draws a random card and silently reads it.
Well, what's it say?
Tripp doesn't respond. He gathers all the cards and stuffs them back into their box.
Tripp, come on, what'd it say?
Tripp crosses to the living room.
Something about bleeding for love.
Oh, how romantic.
These cards are cursed.
No. What? No.
Tripp raises the deck to the lamp. It flickers several times, then turns off completely.
What the?
Picasa, a spirit, a curse. I don't know, but something malicious attached to these cards.
Tripp opens the door and flings the deck out of the house.
Hey!
I'm sorry, man, but those cards are tainted. If you want them, they landed near your bike.
Gee, thanks.
Tripp rejoins the table.
Wait, why don't you just go home? You brought all of this on with your broken knife and demonic cards. You also invited me, Trey's mortal enemy. I see it right now. The bad juju dripping from your Sam Crow wannabe jacket.
Only thing dripping from my jacket is the blood from the last guy who insulted me. You want to be next?
Again, the only wannabe here is you.
Blake stands and kicks over his own chair.
Blake, don't let him rile you.
Deal the cards, Chris.
Chris shuffles the cards.
You want rid of me, Joe? Earn it. I bet 1,000.
You're a moron.
Yeah, make it 2,000.
Blake bets his chips and heads to the bar for another refill.
Looks like Blake volunteers as the big blind. That makes you the small blind, Joe.
Joe, begrudgingly, throws in one chip. Chris deals 2 face-down cards to each player, starting with Joe.
Fold.
Fold.
Wusses. Somebody call me. How about you, new guy?
Sorry, can't do it. Fold.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's do this, tough guy.
Blake pours another double shot of whiskey and stands behind Chris.
Run the flop, Chris.
Chris turns up 3 community cards.
Ace of diamonds, 9 of diamonds, 7 of clubs.
I guarantee you I got the queen of diamonds. 1,000.
He reaches over Chris and places his bet.
Come on, dude. Joe's first to act.
Out of turn or not, the bet was made.
Call.
Guys, come on. This is not how we play. Blake, why don't you set the drink down and at least look at your cards?
As Chris said, the bet was made, Trey.
Let's see the turn.
Chris reveals another card.
10 of diamonds.
Oh, yeah. Give me those diamonds, baby.
Check.
Slowing down on me, huh? All right. Check.
Blake checks the rest of his drink and Chris reveals the last card.
7 of diamonds.
Blake celebrates obnoxiously.
Check.
1,000. I got that sparkly lady. I know I do.
Really? Is Trey's gypsy intuition contagious? Don't answer that, by the way. I'm being rhetorical again.
Actually, I think you're stalling.
No. What I am is all in.
Joe proudly pushes in his chips.
All right. All right, hold on.
Blake sets down his glass and stumbles into Chris.
Ooh. Excuse me, Chris.
Chris eyes Tripp, who shakes his head in disgust. Blake holds on to Chris' shoulders, then trips as he makes his way around the table to check his cards.
Ah! Told you.
He picks up a card and kisses it.
Queen of diamonds, my girl. She's never let me down.
Don't.
Before Tripp can object, Blake pushes his remaining chips to the middle of the table.
Dear Lord. The board is paired, you idiot. There are 2 sevens.
Too late now. You want to tell him or should I?
Full house.
How right you are. Aces full of 7s. Your girl, she just let you down.
Joe rakes in the winning chip.
No. No, that's no.
Yes. See you later, wannabe. Thanks for coming.
I was just fooling. You guys know how I am. And anyway, the first time is always just for fun, right? We can restart.
Blake, you know we can't.
Tripp. Come on, man.
You screwed us, Blake. How are we ever going to beat him now? He has twice the chips of everyone.
You can't and you won't. Just because I had one bad night over a year ago doesn't mean you'll ever win again. Face it, Trey, I'm better than you. I'm only here slumming because I want to rub your nose in it. I certainly don't need the money.
If you're so much better, why?
Tripp decides not to finish his thought.
Why what? Say it.
Why'd you have to hire someone to beat him up? You afraid to do it yourself?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Blake pushes over some of Joe's chips.
All talk. Cowardly action. I got your number, clown.
On the contrary, it seems I have yours. Now why don't you just scoot on home? We of higher intellect have a game to finish.
Blake grabs Joe's hand and twists.
Ow! Trey, call him off.
Why should I? Maybe you ought to break a few bones. Or maybe shatter that $1 million smile of yours.
Happy to.
Wait, may I?
Joe slowly reaches inside his blazer and withdraws his wallet.
How's 100 suit you? No, let's make it 3.
He offers the money to Blake.
Go on, take it. Drinks on me.
After a tense, brief pause, Blake accepts the money.
Get out.
Tripp,
Get out.
He shuffles to the door.
And take those haunted cards with you. I don't want them on the property.
Yeah.
Bye, buddy. I'll call you tomorrow, okay?
Blake shakes his head and exits.
Not so tough after all, is he?
Can we get back to the game?
Yes, please. You two can kill each other after I win.
Tripp stares across the table at Joe and nods.
Okay.
Blackout. Scene 2. 2 hours later. The chip stacks are now Joe with 120, Tripp with 80, Phil with 10, and Chris with none. 40 are in the middle of the table. Also center table are 4 face-up community cards, and both Chris and Tripp's cards are face-up. Tripp, Phil, and Joe are seated at the table. Chris is standing, deck of cards in hand.
I can do it.
Chris passes the deck to Tripp, who then turns up the final community card. O's and smiles are made by everyone.
Oh, Tripp wins with trips. Sorry, Chris.
Oh, well. This was a great game, guys. All 3 of you are playing amazingly well.
Chris and Tripp shake hands.
I'm sorry to bust you, of all people.
Ah, it's all good. I did myself in, bluffing one too many times. But what can you do? Wasn't my night. Anyway, as soon as I save up some more money, we have to do this again. The higher the stakes, the better everyone plays. Well, except Blake.
And his card's called Me the Fool.
Tripp stacks his chips, now equal with Joe at 120. Chris and Phil shake hands.
Good playing with you.
You too. Thanks for the invite. It's been fun, but
Gestures to his 10 chips.
looks like I'll be on the rail right behind you.
Stay patient. A couple of double ups and you're right back in it.
It's true. Chris has done it before.
Really? I thought you blocked out every memory of me winning against you.
Of course, I remember, but I'm quick to remind you, it'll never happen again.
Chris shakes hands with Joe.
Best of luck, Joe. Nice playing with you again.
Thanks, Chris. You're always a class act. I admire that.
You and Tripp stay classy, all right? It's just a game.
I'll referee if needed.
You're in good hands then. Tripp, call me tomorrow and tell me who won.
You got it, man. See you soon.
Chris exits.
Looks like we're about even now, Joseph.
Good. Now you'll have no choice but to admit I'm better when I straight up outplay you.
That'll be the day.
What are the blinds now?
500, 1,000.
Well, it's do or die.
Phil bets his last chips. Tripp passes the deck of cards to him.
Here. See if you can deal yourself something worthwhile.
Thanks.
I call.
Check.
Center pot is now 30 chips.
You want to stay classy and play all the way through?
All right. Phil, here's your chance to triple up.
Phil deals cards, starting with Joe. No player peeks at them.
Run them. We'll reveal our own at the end.
Phil deals all 5 community cards. To
What
Joe.
you got?
Pair of 9s.
Tripp?
Jack high.
Phil flips one of his cards.
King of clubs.
Another king for a pair, or
Another club makes a flush.
Come on, clubs.
Phil slowly turns his remaining card.
10 of hearts. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Joe collects all of the winning chips.
Sorry, man. King 10 should have run better.
Yeah, I should have pushed sooner. I was too focused on outlasting Chris. Anyway, thank you both for giving me the chance to triple up.
how about another chance to earn a little money?
What do you mean?
Deal for us. Win or lose, I always tip the dealer. Besides, you told Chris you'd stay and referee.
He has a point. It's probably best if you don't leave us alone together.
It's settled then.
Phil gathers the cards and shuffles. Tripp and Joe eye each other intently.
This feels familiar, Joe. You and me, heads up, winner take all.
Phil deals the cards.
Tell me straight, if I win again, you gonna hire another thug to beat me half to death?
Tripp bets 20 chips.
Tell me straight. What'd you do that night after the game?
Tripp shakes his head.
What's funny?
Joe calls 20 chips.
Losing to me kills you, doesn't it?
Phil deals the 3 community cards.
It's a simple question. What'd you do? You have nothing to hide, right? Sarah said you were a perfect gentleman.
Ottimo. She speaks the truth.
Tripp bets 30 chips.
There's no such thing as a gentleman.
There is. You just wouldn't know anything about it.
You just proved my point.
He pushes all of his chips forward.
All in.
All in. What could you possibly have? A straight? Did you flop a straight?
Maybe. Maybe not. That's what I love about poker. If you want to know whether your opponent is lying, all you have to do is pay to find out. It's fascinating how a game that encourages deception has a mechanism so straightforward and honest.
That's deep. But it's also a tell. You wouldn't talk that much if you were bluffing. I fold.
Oh, too bad.
Joe shows his cards.
What is that? 6 high?
I had 2 pair.
And look at you now. How much do you have left?
40, 50, 60. You have 3 times more than me now.
Now 3 times better looking, too.
I need a break. 5 minutes?
Tripp stands.
Sounds good to me.
Shut up, Phil. If you must speak, how about telling him why you're really here?
Now? But the game's not...
Really here? What does that mean? You two know each other?
Right. Phil here? He works for me.
You're cheating.
No, you are.
Show to Phil.
Show him the pictures.
Phil loads some photos on his phone and then hands it to Tripp.
Oh, all right. What's the ruse?
Ruse? There's no ruse.
Of course there is. A guy who you admittedly employ has nude photos of your wife? If that's not weird enough, you order him to show me the aforementioned photos?
Joe hammers his fist on the table and stands.
You're not denying your way out of this one.
Joe snatches the phone and holds the screen inches from Tripp's face.
That's you, right there, with my wife. Admit it.
Nah, that guy's more handsome and better endowed. Me? I've never been very photogenic.
Joe shoves Tripp.
Remember, I stopped Blake from...
Joe charges forward and begins strangling Tripp.
Stay away from her. Do you hear me?
Tripp grasps Joe's wrist but fails to break free, so he withdraws a hidden revolver from his waistband or jacket.
Guys, come on.
Bill forces the pair to break up, and Tripp conceals the gun without the others noticing.
I'll give you the 25 grand right now if you agree to stop seeing her.
I'm not Blake. I can't be bought, but it is... it is nice to see you do your own dirty work. Or is that why Phil's here? He your new hired muscle?
No. I'm a PI hired to take the pictures, nothing more. Only I did arrange the chance meeting with your friend Chris to get myself invited.
Pretty clever, huh?
So you knew. You knew you were coming to my house?
Absolutely. But upon arriving, I did consider leaving a better alternative than being clocked in the face by that wannabe biker.
And what is it you want?
I told you. Stay away from Sarah, and the money's all yours.
Game's not over.
I have triple your chips. No way you can win.
So you won't hesitate to gamble, right?
He pushes all his chips to the middle of the table.
Well then, you draw a higher card than me. The money and Sarah are all yours. You'll never see me again.
And I'm supposed to just take your word for it.
I swear. In the name of my late grandmother, I swear.
To Phil.
You heard him, right? You're my witness.
Phil nods.
Okay, Trey. If I'd known I could have removed you from my life with a game of high card, I would have done it a long time ago.
Joe and Phil return to their seats. Tripp stands to the right of Phil, away from Joe.
One quick shuffle, then spread them out.
Phil follows the instruction.
Joseph.
Tripp gestures to the fanned-out face-down cards. With his middle finger, Joe selects a card and grins at the result.
King of Diamonds. I'd say it's been nice knowing you, Trey, but it hasn't.
With his eyes closed, Tripp slowly hovers his open hand along the line of cards. When he comes to the end, he backtracks a little, then slides one card away from the others.
Turn it for me, Phil.
Ace of Hearts.
No. No way.
Tripp doubles up to 12,000.
No. He cheated or something.
How? These are your cards, Joe.
Phil pushes 120 chips to Tripp's side.
Same deal. Double or nothing. How about it?
12,000 doubled is 24. If you lose,
I can count. You in or out?
in.
Phil reaches to reshuffle the cards.
Don't touch them. We'll draw from these.
Joe imitates Tripp, closing his eyes and running his open hand along the cards. Eventually, he chooses one with his finger and flips it over.
Jack of clubs.
Wasting no time, Tripp slides one card away from the others, but doesn't look at it.
Queen of hearts.
Yeah, right.
Phil turns the card.
Queen of hearts. How'd you?
Joe slams both fists on the table and stands.
Cheating! He's cheating!
As Phil said, how? They're your cards.
I don't know how, but you are. Admit it.
Joe lunges towards Tripp, but Phil restrains him.
You want a confession? So do I. Admit you hired that thug, the one who put me in the hospital for nearly a month.
All right, yes, I hired him. And if I have to, I do it again. Only next time, I'll see to it there's nothing left of you for the doctors to mend.
It was never the doctors who healed me. It was Sarah. Every day, for an hour, sometimes more, she'd sit in the hospital room with me. And every day, I fell more in love with her company. Her smiling face, her tender heart, and her goofy gifts. Like that magic 8-ball we played with for hours. She saved me. Because if not for her, I would have had no reason, no desire to keep living in that much pain.
You admit it then. You've been having an affair. The guy in those pictures is you.
Yes, I love her. She loves me, and you have only yourself to blame.
No, you're to blame.
Joe begins rounding the table clockwise. Tripp does the same, keeping a symmetrical distance between himself and Joe.
She's my wife. Mine. You're the outsider. You're the one who doesn't belong. And I'll urge you again, accept my offer, keep the 25 grand, and leave Sarah alone.
Wow, what a bargain.
Tripp, now standing near Joe's chair, picks up 10 chips.
Have you forgotten? This is all you have left.
To Phil.
Phil, if you don't mind, the rest of those belong to me.
Again, Joe and Tripp begin circling the table. Phil moves all but 10 chips to Tripp's right side of the table.
What will it take? How much for you to stay out of our lives?
Wove. Money, money, money. It's all you know.
You ought to be thanking me for offering you a way out. If you don't accept my generosity, you won't like the alternatives.
Let me offer you an easy alternative. Divorce her. She won't even ask for alimony. Just let her go.
Then what? She moves into this dump with you? No, never gonna happen.
Are you really that spiteful? You'd rather make all three of our lives miserable.
It's you making our lives miserable. We were happy until the night she met you. I don't know if you cast some spell of allure to draw her to you, but I know if you're not around, she'll remember how much she loves me and how much I love her.
If you love her so much, why'd you make the gamble?
I was angry, stupid, overconfident, the list goes on.
Joe sits in his original seat on the left.
I made a mistake. All I wanted was to impress her, to be a hero. But instead, I became the villain.
No. All you wanted was your money back. You'd have wagered a kidney if I'd asked you for one. Still, you had every right to be confident. In all honesty, I couldn't have beaten you on my own.
Tripp sits.
What are you talking about?
It was Sarah. Your Railbird betrayed you.
Railbird? What's a Railbird?
A chick who supports her guy by watching him play poker.
About a year ago, Chris and I were invited to a high-stakes game. It was the first time I ever played against Joe.
I had heard of you, though. The gypsy who deals fortunes to everyone at the table and leaves with his own.
When Chris and I arrived, the game had already begun. Joe was seated at the head of the table like a king with a towering castle of chips. And beside him sat his queen, the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. She was wearing this seductive, sleeveless dress, which looked more like a slip than a dress. Oh, she was distracting. I figured that was the whole reason he brought her. And let me tell you, it was working. The whole night, every guy had their eyes glued to her. Meanwhile, Joe raked in pod after pod.
Until you came alive like a one-man army, seizing my castle and my queen.
I'm telling you, man, I couldn't have beaten you on my own.
Says the guy Sarah nicknamed Tripp because you won with set after set.
True. At one point, I had a phenomenal run of cards. But I would have been long gone before that point if not for not noticing her nose.
Her what?
Nose. Specifically her nostrils. Turns out, she was sitting so close she could see Joe's cards. When he would bet, I began to notice, on occasion, Sarah would constrict her nostrils. Studying his hand after hand, I realized it was a move of displeasure. When Joe bet a good hand, she did nothing. But when he was bluffing or on a draw, she would slightly twitch her nose.
You're serious?
Dead serious. When it came down to you and me heads up, she knew I had caught on, but instead of stopping or switching it up to deceive me, her constrictions became more prominent. By the time I had whittled you down to nearly nothing, she was openly crinkling the bridge of her nose and smiling at me.
Why'd she help you win?
Later, she told me it was because of all the guys staring at her that night. I was the only one who noticed more than just her pretty face. She was also angry with Joe for putting her in such a situation. But during the game, I had no idea. I had no idea they were married either. I just knew the most beautiful woman on the planet was smiling, flashing flirty glances at me, and ensuring my victory. So when Joe pleaded with me to keep playing after I had taken all his money, I threw out the suggestion, one night with his Railbird.
So why deny it?
Deny what?
Sleeping with her. You both denied it. Why?
Because we didn't sleep together. I swear it, man. We had a nice night on the town, that's it. I took her to dinner, then to a jazz club. After that, we walked a little and happened upon a tucked-away park. I never intended to spend the whole night with her. It just happened. We sat talking on a bench in that park until sunrise.
Talking? You talked? All night? In a park?
Yes. Maybe you should have tried it occasionally. Maybe then you'd still be together. Maybe then you'd know what I know. That she's as smart as she is beautiful.
Think I don't know that?
Tripp shrugs.
Think I don't know my own wife? That I don't love her?
What I know is what we talked, laughed, and lost track of time. But we did not have sex. And that's the truth. Vottimo.
Then explain the pictures.
Those are recent. Not from that night.
Explain the pictures.
That night in the park, she and I had an undeniable connection. We were attracted to one another, mind, body, and soul. But neither of us would have acted on it. At least, not until you hired that gorilla to beat me half to death. That's what drove Sarah to me. She hated you for not believing her, and even more for hurting me. So, during all those days I was hospitalized, she and I were falling deeper and deeper in love. And I'll be honest, I hate it. I hate being the other guy. I hate that I've broken a marriage, but I love her. She loves me. And no matter what you threaten, I will not stop seeing her.
Joe is silent for a brief moment and then nods.
At least now I understand it.
Then divorce her.
If she wants to leave, I won't stop her.
You mean it?
Yes.
Thank you.
But if she does leave, I assure you, she will never see Abby again.
No, you can't do that.
Who's Abby?
Our daughter.
To Tripp.
And yes, Trey, I can do it. My money, my lawyers, and Phil's pictures will guarantee I'm given full custody.
So that's it? She either chooses me or Abby?
What's the matter? Afraid she won't choose you?
No. I'm afraid of what will happen if she stays with you any longer. I've heard the stories. I've seen the bruises. But taking Abby from her would be worse than anything you've done.
Listen to me, you low-life scum.
You may have lured my wife away, and you can accuse me of whatever you want, but you will never, do you hear me? Never will you come anywhere near my daughter.
Seems there's nothing more to say.
I suppose not.
Then let's end this. What do you want to do with that last 1,000?
High card.
Joe immediately chooses a card.
Yes! Ace of spades.
Oh, the death card. How appropriate.
Tripp draws his revolver and aims at Joe.
You lose.
Blackout. End of Act 1. Act 2, Scene 1. Phil and Joe are seated at the table. Tripp, who now has visible marks on his neck, is standing and continues aiming the revolver at Joe.
Phil, fetch the briefcase.
Phil begins to stand, but Joe motions for him to stop.
Oh, you work for me. Don't do anything he says.
He has a gun.
Phil stands.
Phil?
Phil walks towards the briefcase, then Joe shakes and bows his head in frustration.
Head up. Hands on the table.
Joe raises his hand and 2 middle fingers.
How's this?
Phil slides the briefcase onto the table in front of Tripp.
Don't set it down. Hit him with it.
Open it.
Phil opens up the case and raises the lid.
We good?
Phil smiles widely and closes the case.
Beyond good.
Phil, what's going on?
Oh, sorry, Joe. Tripp pays better.
To Tripp.
How was I?
Gushti. Look at him. He had no idea.
Phil, what's he talking about?
To Tripp, ignoring Joe.
Your neck is bruising where he grabbed you.
Perfect. All the more reason for the police to believe me. Oh, I mean, us.
Joe moves his hand to the edge of the table.
Hands on the table.
He pulls back the hammer of the gun.
I won't say it again.
Joe slaps his hands onto the table.
What? You gonna shoot me, Trey? I don't think so. All you want is your precious Sarah. But think about it. If you kill me and go to jail, where does that leave her, huh? No, you're not that stupid. Still, I can't simply let this go. No one points a gun at me without some kind of repercussions. So how about you give me that case, I walk out the door, and we never see each other again?
It's no longer mine to give. Besides, the time for negotiating has passed. I sought a peaceful solution, but you countered with an ultimatum. You might as well face it, Joe. You're finished. Sarah will soon inherit your money and all the other possessions you hold so dear.
Wow. There it is. You actually had me fooled.
Yeah. You think I won't shoot you?
No, that I now believe. But you truly fooled me into believing your actions had a higher purpose. I was even beginning to admire the lengths you're willing to go to for the sake of love. I should have known. You're just a natural-born hustler.
What are you talking about?
Come on, Trey. I have much more respect for you to admit it. I mean, you're good. Possibly the best. Somehow you hustled Phil into being your accomplice. You hustled Sarah into falling for you. Now, you're right. You kill me, and Sarah inherits everything I own. And all that's left is arranging a quickie marriage, snuffing out Sarah and Abby. Then, voila, you're a wealthy man.
Wait, what?
Bill suspiciously eyes Tripp.
Is that true? Was that your plan all along?
Of course. Why else would he be giving you 25 grand? He's running a long con for a much bigger payoff.
Justy.
Say again?
Ridiculous. Unlike you, I'd never harm or deceive the ones I love, especially not Sarah.
I don't believe you.
Fine, Phil. You don't have to believe me. Just keep up your end of the deal.
No.
Phil picks up the briefcase and steps away from the table.
No.
With his attention on Phil, Tripp slightly lowers the gun. Meanwhile, Joe scoops up several of the playing cards.
No. I'm
Phil glances at Joe, which also returns Tripp's attention to him. Immediately, Joe scatters a handful of cards into the air and swiftly ducks beneath the table. The crack of a gunshot pierces the air. A long, silent pause. Stunned, Phil steps forward.
Did you shoot him?
Tripp doesn't respond. Instead, the revolver falls out of his hands, and he looks down at himself.
Tripp?
Tripp drops to his chair, touches his inner thigh, and raises a blood-covered hand.
Tripp!
Phil rushes to Tripp. Meanwhile, Joe emerges with a gun in his hand.
Get away from him.
Whoa, oh, okay. Don't shoot.
Phil holds up his hands and backs away. Joe waves the gun towards the bar.
Stand over there.
Joe slowly approaches Tripp until the gun is inches from his face. Tripp gazes down the barrel.
Before you leave this life and head for a worse one, I want to hear you say it. You already came close, admitting you couldn't have beaten me without Sarah's help.
Sarah.
Don't worry. I'll take care of her. But first, tell me what you, me, and Sarah already know. Tell me how much you envy me, how much you long to be me, how you covet my life and everything in it.
Tripp looks again at his bloody palm. Then his eyes shut and his body goes limp.
Tell me!
Joe lowers the gun, grabs Tripp's hair, and looks him in the face.
It seems the gypsy cards were right after all. Lightning tore you asunder, fool.
Joe shoves Tripp, who falls lifeless onto the floor. He then picks up Tripp's revolver, resets the hammer, and slides the gun into his jacket pocket, before turning his attention to Phil.
You disobedient dog. Have you not heard it's fatal to bite the hand that feeds you?
I'm sorry,
Joe advances toward Phil and raises the gun to his temple.
What's that? Speak up, dog. All I hear is whimpering, and I haven't even hurt you yet.
I'm sorry.
Phil tightly closes his eyes.
Why did you do it? If you wanted more money, all you had to do was tell me Trey's plan. I would have gratefully rewarded you.
Joe clutches Phil's jaw and chin.
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Please.
That's right. Beg, dog.
Please, don't kill me.
All right.
Joe releases his grip, lowers the gun, and steps back.
Then answer my question. Why'd you do it?
Phil goes silent and stares at the ground. After a moment, Joe gestures to Tripp.
Do you want to join him?
Phil frantically shakes his head.
No.
So, enlighten me. Was it simply a money grab? Or did he promise you something else?
I didn't do it for him.
What's that? I don't have special dog hearing like you.
I didn't do it for him. I did it for her.
Who?
Sarah.
Joe shakes his head.
Of course. You're screwing her too.
No, never.
But you want to, right?
Phil doesn't answer.
On your knees.
Joe,
Joe aims the gun at Phil's head.
On your knees, dog.
Phil kneels.
Please, I'll tell you everything.
Joe lowers the gun.
All I've been asking.
Okay. It all started a couple of weeks ago. One day, I followed them too closely. Tripp was driving so fast.
Tripp. His name is Tripp. If I hear Tripp one more time.
Got it. To keep up with Trey, I was tailing closer than I should. And when they stopped at a downtown restaurant, I was ambushed the minute I stepped through the door after them. They knew I was following, and immediately assumed that you were behind it.
And what? You couldn't be bothered to deny it?
I did deny it. Again, but unbelieving, they forced me to sit at the table with them.
No.
Raises the gun to Phil's forehead.
This is forcing you. Did he or Sarah put a gun to your head?
You're right. They pressured me to sit with them.
My patience is waning, Phil. Tell me something of significance.
Yes. Yes. Sitting at the table, that's when Sarah told me about the horrible things you've done to her. She hates you, Joe, but even more, she's afraid of you. So I agreed to help her.
How noble of you. Was this before or after Trey offered you the 25 grand? More importantly, what did she offer you? Did she slip you that forked tongue of hers?
Huh? No.
Then what? Did she reach under the table?
Wags a closed fist.
No, she never touched me. I never touched her.
Yeah? So she did nothing, yet you agreed to kill for her.
No. Killing you was the last resort. I mean...
Stop speaking. I don't believe a word you're saying.
Joe, come on.
One more yap, Shih Tzu, and I put you down. Now give me your phone.
What? Why?
Won't ask again.
Phil relinquishes his phone.
Any other copies of these photos?
Only on the flash drive I already gave you.
Lying?
No, I swear.
Joe backs away and collects the briefcase.
The only reason I don't kill you is because you gave me the opening to shoot him. Don't make me regret it.
Joe turns toward the door.
You're leaving? What about Trey?
No one cares about a dead gypsy with no family. If they do, I'll hire the best lawyers in the country.
He opens the door.
No. If you know what's good for you, you'll leave here and never look back. And don't even think of contacting me or Sarah ever again. You got it?
Yes. Got it. 100%.
Joe exits. Phil exhales a groan of relief and breathes heavily. Eventually, he calms down enough and moves to the bar for a shot of whiskey.
Yeah!
He winces from the shot, wipes his mouth, then stares at Tripp for a long, silent moment.
Tripp, your plan failed miserably. And I can't imagine the price Sarah is going to pay for all this. I wish I knew how to save her, but I don't even know how to save myself. Is Joe right? Can I just leave you here?
He stares at Tripp a bit longer.
Hold it. Are you breathing?
He runs to Tripp and checks his pulse.
Tripp! Tripp! Can you hear me?
He shakes Tripp and pats his face. Tripp gasps awake and pushes away from Phil.
Tripp, are you okay?
Joe?
He left. He's gone.
Sarah?
I don't know. He's probably headed straight to her.
No, she...
He grimaces in pain and clutches his leg.
I know you're worried. I am too, but...
Give me the phone.
Joe took mine.
Tripp points to the phone on the bar.
Oh, yeah. Should I call an ambulance or...
Give me it.
Tripp sits up, leaning against the table or chair leg, and Phil passes him the phone.
It's me. Yes. Please hurry.
Is that a doctor? You need treatment.
Shut up! You caused this.
I didn't.
Shut up.
Phil retreats to the bar and pours himself another shot.
You want one?
No.
For another long, silent moment, Phil faces the bar drinking while Tripp varies his attention between his leg and the door. Abruptly, the silence shatters as the door opens and Sarah enters. Phil's jaw drops.
I saw Joe leave. Is everything okay?
She notices Tripp.
What happened?
Joe shot him.
And whose fault was that, huh?
Sarah gives Phil an angry glare, then repositions a chair.
Phil, help me lift him.
They raise Tripp into the chair and he wails in agony. Sarah calms him down.
Look at me, okay? Don't look at the blood.
Tripp nods.
What's going on?
He has, I guess it's a phobia.
He gathers some dish towels and a water bottle from the bar.
I don't know, but when he sees blood, he passes out.
He did.
Did what?
She sets the supplies on the table.
He looked at the blood on his hand, and then he was out. Joe and I both thought he was dead.
He will be if we don't stop the bleeding. Here.
He passes Phil a dish towel.
When I tell you, I need you to tie that around his leg tight as you can, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Tripp, this is going to hurt, probably a lot, but I'm right here with you, okay?
To Phil.
Tie it.
Sarah embraces Tripp, clutching his head against her body, and screams as Phil ties the towel around his wound.
There. All done. But I think the bullet is still...
I know.
What do we do?
Sarah releases her embrace and checks Tripp's hand. Tripp looks as well.
Nastasha. It's on me, remember?
Tripp keeps his focus on Sarah's face. Meanwhile, she soaks a towel with water and begins cleaning the blood off of his hands.
Sarah, what do we do?
I don't know, Phil. What happened with Joe?
He's willing to grant you the choice. Either me or Abby.
Abby?
She sets aside the towel and turns away.
Sarah, look at me.
He grasps her hands and she faces him.
Call him. Bait him to come back here, and I'll finish it.
Can you even stand?
No, I can't stand. I can't stand to imagine you or Abby spending another second with him. And I'll end it, whatever it takes. Just get him back here.
Nastasha.
Sarah and Tripp kiss, which irritates Phil.
That word, what does it mean?
Beloved.
Phil rolls his eyes and Sarah draws a phone from her purse.
Where's my revolver?
Joe, he took it. And my phone, and the briefcase.
You are the most useless person.
Guys, shh.
Phil marches to the living room and plops on the couch. Sarah holds out the phone for everyone to hear. Joe answers the ring.
Hey, I'm on my way home. How's Abby?
She's good. But what about you? Some guy named Phil called and said there was an incident at Tripp's house?
Phil raises his hands and mouths, "What?" Tripp waves him off and Phil pouts.
No, I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Really? I mean, he sounded panicked and said I should hurry over.
Maybe something happened after I left. If you want, I'll pick you up and we can go together. I'll be home shortly.
Oh, yeah, that would have been great, but I'm already on my way. Almost there, in fact. I should have called sooner, but I was rushing and fretting. Something dreadful happened.
To me or Trey?
You, dummy. Well, that's why I helped you get invited. I wanted you to take every last dime from that gypsy swindler.
You can stop the act. Phil ratted you out. Told me how you hate me, how you're afraid of me.
What? I never said that.
Come on, Sarah. For once, be honest.
I am. From time to time, yeah, I curse the heavens for ever marrying. I'm sure you do the same. But we always make up, don't we? It's because our love is stronger than any trivial squabbling.
I'd be more willing to believe you if not for the naked photos of you and Trey together.
Where'd you see those?
Phil, don't pretend like you don't know him.
Oh, Joe, someone's lying to you. But I don't know, Phil. I only answered the phone because the ID had Tripp's name and I knew you were there.
That doesn't explain the pictures. I have proof.
Yeah, proof Tripp and I were together once.
So, what? You had a one-time fling?
No, a fling makes it sound pleasurable, voluntary. It was you who lost to him that night. First, when he took me out to dinner, then to a club to hear a jazz band, he posed as a perfect gentleman. Afterwards, when I asked him to drive me home to my husband, he quickly dropped the facade and became irate. He forced me into his car, drove like a maniac to his place, and stripped away my clothes with those filthy hands. And then he
What? Tell me.
Well, he had his way with me. He demanded I pose for several photos. I know I should have told you, but I wanted to forget that night, to pretend it never happened. Regardless, those must have been the photos that you saw.
I want to believe you.
Joe, I'm your wife. Yours. Yours alone. I'm not having an affair, and I'm offended you don't believe me.
I'm sorry.
Well, here's the house. I'm just pulling up, but now I'm nervous. Why was I called here?
No, stay in the car and wait for me, okay? I've already turned around.
Yeah, but please hurry.
On my way.
Sarah ends the call. Tripp applauds.
I'd give you a standing ovation if I could only stand.
Sarah smiles and curtsies to Tripp. Phil charges towards Sarah and grabs her arm.
Hey!
She tries to yank free of his grip, but fails.
What's your problem, man?
The monstrous things you claim Joe does to you, is it even true?
Sarah studies his face.
You're looking at me the same way he does.
Answer the question.
If I said yes, would you believe me?
Shakes her.
Tell me.
Tripp grabs Blake's knife off the table.
Take your hands off her.
You've spent time with Joe, right? You tell me. Does he behave like Prince Charming or more like someone willing and capable of the things I described?
Phil pulls her closer and hugs her. Sarah does not reciprocate the embrace.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Hands off. I won't say it again.
Okay, chill out. I said I was sorry.
Phil releases Sarah and steps away. She moves to Tripp's side and holds his hand.
You should leave till this is over. At least go back down the road.
Tripp, no. It was pure torture waiting in my car, wondering if you two killed each other. I won't do it again. Not for a second.
Well, you can't be here when he comes in. Especially now that I don't have a gun.
And what's your plan? He comes in armed with 2 guns. You can't even stand, but you're going to, what? Stab him?
I'd welcome a better option.
Sarah picks up a clean towel and lays it across her hands.
Give me the knife.
Why? What are you thinking?
Tripp, I love you. With my whole being, I love you. And my heart melts from what you're willing to sacrifice for me. But this is my fight. It always has been. I've just been too afraid to face it until now.
Sarah,
Tripp sighs and relinquishes the knife. Sarah cleans it of his fingerprints.
I can do this. I'm also the only one who can get close enough.
I can't lose you.
And I can't lose you, Vestasha.
She closes the blade of the knife.
How did you...
What?
Nothing. You've got this, I know you do.
She smiles and kisses Tripp.
When I return to you, a wealthy widow, will you have me?
Wealthy, poor, young, old, I will always have you, my love.
Sarah smiles and covers her heart. Then, clutching the knife, she exits. Phil begins pacing.
This is insane. You're all insane. You can't just kill people and get away with it.
Excuse me, but did you forget your purpose? You're being paid to back up whatever story we need to tell.
I know, but this is far from what I imagined. And maybe you forgot. There is no money. Joe stole it.
Well, he didn't throw it out the window. And if you're attempting to place blame, find a mirror. Everything was fine until your sudden onset of cold feet.
Unbelievable. I should have never agreed.
No one forced you.
Do you even care about her? Or is Joe right? All of this is a long con to steal her money?
You don't want to talk. Remember what you said at the restaurant?
Phil doesn't respond.
No? Well, I do. Smiling ear to ear and with a glimmer in your eye, you touted, 25 grand? I'd push my own sister from a train.
Obviously, I was exaggerating, and you're evading my question.
Am I? I'm sorry. It's a little difficult to concentrate with a bullet inside my leg. Oh, wait. Maybe that's the answer. If I'm willing to take a bullet for her, then yeah, it's probably safe to say I care about her. Idiot.
You think you're better than me, don't you? You and Joe both.
Dude, I don't want to argue. Why don't you have a seat or another drink or whatever? Just relax a minute.
Phil paces to the door and stares at it.
She was my girl. I never sent her out there alone.
Your girl.
What? Is it so inconceivable that she'd prefer me over you and Joe? I never lie to her. I never abuse her. I never wager her in a poker game.
Because you couldn't win a poker game to save your life. And get your facts straight, pal. I never lied to, mistreated, or wagered her either.
Check your facts, bud. I'm not your pal. And I'm getting sick and tired of the disrespect. It's me doing you a favor, not the other way around.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Phil speaks the following while slowly walking towards Tripp, pointing to himself with every me.
No. You need me because I'm a PI. You need me because I have connections with the police force. You need me because they'll believe what I tell them. And Sarah needs me, not you.
Phil shoves Tripp out of his chair. Tripp tries crawling away, but is in too much pain. He stops and clutches his wound. Phil swats at Tripp's hand savagely and removes the towel tied around his leg.
Oh, are you bleeding again? Well, then you'd pass out. Well, when you pass out this time, don't wake up.
Phil throws the bloody towel in Tripp's face and kicks him. Tripp groans in agony, and Phil begins stomping on his leg. Off stage, a sudden gunshot. Tripp and Phil freeze in silence and gaze at the door. After a brief pause, Tripp is the first to move.
Sarah? Sarah?
Tripp drags himself across the floor, but after clearing only a few feet, he stops and lies motionless.
Tripp, hi.
Phil is panicked and frantically surveys the room for options. Eventually, he eyes the landline phone on the floor and grabs it. But before he can dial a number, the doorknob turns. Phil quickly cowers behind the table. Sarah enters. She is toting the briefcase and blood covers her mouth and chin.
Tripp.
She drops the briefcase and runs to him.
Sarah?
He rises from behind the table.
What happened? Why is he on the floor?
He shakes Tripp, but he doesn't respond.
It doesn't matter. What matters is that he confessed. Confessed he never loved you and revealed his whole nefarious scheme.
What are you talking about?
It was all a con. First, Joe dies and you inherit his money. Next, Tripp proposes a quickie marriage. Shortly after, he kills you and Abby and collects all the money himself.
He told you that?
Yes.
Was this before or after you tortured him?
What? I didn't.
He holds up the bloody towel.
So what? He untied this himself?
No. He heard the gunshot. And when he tried to stand, he fell. That's when the towel...
Yes, and snatches the phone from Phil and dials 911.
Yes, I need an ambulance. Someone's been shot.
He glares at Phil.
Yes, the shooter's still here.
Phil angrily shakes his head.
Look, I don't know the address. It's a country road outside town, but this is a landline. Trace it.
She tosses the phone on the table.
You are not blaming me for this.
Ignoring him, Sarah gathers a water bottle and a couple more dish towels.
Do you hear me, Sarah?
He grabs her arm.
Let me go.
What happened with Joe? Is he dead?
Go see for yourself.
I'm trying to help you.
He pulls away.
Then explain the blood on your shoes.
She kneels beside him and begins tying a clean towel around his leg.
Like I said, he was going to kill you.
Sarah sits and positions Tripp's head into her lap. She pours water onto a towel and dabs his face.
Tripp, can you hear me?
Sarah, come with me.
What?
I mean it. Let's get out of here. 25 grand, that's not a lot, but it's enough to get to Mexico and buy us some time to figure things out.
You're serious?
Yes. Think about it. Wouldn't you rather drink cocktails on the beach than go to prison?
I have a daughter.
Yeah. Okay. Where is she? We'll pick her up. Come on.
Phil, I just killed my husband to be with the love of my life. No way am I leaving him.
He's as good as dead. Look at him.
He presses his foot against Tripp's wound.
Stop it!
Dead. Doesn't even flinch.
Go, get out of here if you want. I'm not leaving him.
Coming with me beats prison, doesn't it?
I doubt it. Joe was a monster, but you're something worse.
No. He's something worse.
Gesturing to Tripp.
And if by some miracle he does live, I hope you remember this moment. Remember that you could have come with me. That I was interested in you, not your money.
You don't even know me. And if you did, you'd know I'd rather Tripp kill me than go anywhere with the likes of you.
Fine. Have a nice life, what little's left of it.
Phil picks up the briefcase and exits.
Tripp, baby, I need you to wake up.
She splashes water on Tripp's face. He's jarred awake and begins coughing. She smiles and dries him with the towel.
Bud.
He touches Sarah's lips.
Oh, no, baby, it's nothing.
He wipes her mouth with the towel.
Joe.
He'll never hurt me again.
The gunshot.
Uh-huh. He knew I was planning something, so he made me get inside the car with him. Before I could use the knife, he saw it, pried it from my hand, and bashed my face into the dashboard. It was instant karma, though. The glove box popped open, and inside was your revolver.
Self-defense.
Exactly. It couldn't have gone better. You and I are free. And we can fly to Vegas, be joined in marriage by Elvis, and then you can kill me and have all of Joe's money.
You learned my master plan.
Yep. Phil told me all about it. But what about Abby? Do you really have to kill her too?
I'll raise her myself and
holds his leg.
And I'll teach her everything I know. When she's old enough, we'll hustle people out of millions.
As long as she's happy.
He smiles.
I love you, Sarah.
I love you, Fistasha.
I'll tell my grandmother about you.
But no.
She tightly embraces Tripp.
No, don't say it. Don't even think it. I called for an ambulance. You have to stay with me, okay?
She'll love you. She'll be proud I helped you, even if...
Tripp, stop it. You're not going to die.
Tripp's eyes close.
Keep looking at me, okay? I'm sure I don't look my best, but...
Again, he touches her lips.
What?
No, baby, it's lipstick.
She wipes it with the towel.
Baby, it's lipstick, not blood. Don't pass out.
Off stage, an approaching siren waxes.
Oh, you hear that? Just hold on a little longer, okay? Huh? You haven't taught me that word, baby.
Grandmother.
He points toward the living room like he sees his deceased grandmother.
What is it? Do you see something?
He passes out.
Tripp? Tripp? No!
She tries various ways to wake him. When nothing works, she looks around toward the living room where he was pointing.
Puridia, if I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry, but are you here? He's told me about you, how you raised him, how you loved him. Well, I love him too. You know that, right? Please, please don't take him from me.
She kisses Tripp on the forehead.
Tripp, please, please stay with me.
The siren is reaching its peak.
Peridea, please. I'm carrying your great-grandchild.
And instantly, the siren stops. After a moment of eerie silence, the living room lamp flickers on. Sarah gazes at the lamp, frightened, yet hoping for a miracle.
Sarah.
Tripp.
Blackout. End of play.
Very nice. If I can have all of the actors and our playwright come onto the screen, please. I have unmuted everybody. You folks would be kind enough to give this.
My daughter said it was great. Oh, good.
Wow.
I want to thank everybody so much for coming out, and I want to make sure that we say thank you to not only the cast and crew, but also the playwright David.
Applause.
Very appreciative.
Joel Farrell?
That everybody's done.
Oh, I was like, Joel Farrell's.
At this point, if anybody's got any questions or comments for the group, or would like to add anything to the reading, now's your chance. Anybody have any questions or anything out there? I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody again, and we'll see if we can try that a little better. All right. Anybody have any questions or comments for the cast or the author? I see a nice job. I see an applause. I see a great show. Thanks all. Great show. Thank you. With that, again, I just want to say thank you to everybody. And we'll have another play reading from the original work series coming up very shortly. I really appreciate everybody taking the time on Wednesday night to come out and join us. And any final comments or statements from the cast or the playwright themselves?
It was great to see you all again.
Thank you to the cast. Y'all were fantastic. Thank you for Jason for putting this together. I really appreciate it.
It was fun.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
It was fun. Good show.
We here at the Arts Center are going to continue to do all we can to continue to try to platform these wonderful artists. So make sure, if you don't already, give us a like on Facebook, Instagram. We're on Twitter as well. Make sure you go to the Fort Worth Community Arts Center webpage, where we'll try to keep everybody updated. And in saying that, again, thank you all so much for joining us tonight for our original work series. Can't wait to see everybody in person. And with that, everybody have a wonderful night, and we'll be seeing you soon, okay? Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank
Good night.
Thank you.